AI is not for healthcare. It's not about computational science. It is about behavioral and political science. Like if you can show that it works, you're more willing to change the metabolism of your enterprise, as will your teams, because they're saying it's working. And until that happens, and until you have leadership that lean in to do that, we're still going to be kicking the can down the road.
Welcome to Boombostic Health, where we challenge the business of healthcare and explore bold ideas that drive meaningful change.
Good morning, everyone. The honor of having Mike Hollis, co-founder of Optura AI, and trademarked ROAI, which I think is amazing, right? So first of all, Mike, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And tell us a little bit about Optura, and then I definitely want to hear the trademark story in ROAI.
Thanks for having me. So my co-founder and I, a guy named Andy Fanning. Andy was the chief AI officer in automation at Cigna Group. So not just Cigna, the insurance plan, but the Cigna Group. So MB Live, Express Scripts, that whole entity. So he was my client. So I was at a company for about 20 years. And he and I both got to know each other really, really well. And we both have blue collar backgrounds. And we both recognized that there was going to be a lot of shiny objects related to AI in this space that we're in right now. There's a sea of shiny objects. Many of these companies, they have great intent, but they won't make it. And a lot of people that we saw in the industry, felt in the industry, got to know in the industry, were really frustrated and had a paralysis around. There's a sea of possibilities with AI. A lot of their teams had created these pilots, and they didn't know if they were getting value from it. And now they're in paralysis from all those point solutions they're being sold to. Right. And the question they're just trying to answer is, what's bringing value? What is truly bringing us value? We saw that as a business opportunity. On a personal side, my son has a rare condition called mitochondrial disease. And clinical trials really don't cover that condition. And there's a lot of other conditions that are not commercially viable. Now is a moment where the intersection of opportunity with tech and those that need it most can actually have a societal impact. And I think AI is not just a step change moment. It is literally the rest of our life is going to be different. So we said that's what we're going to do. So we leaned in. We started the business about a year ago. We've got about 10 clients, and the focus is ROAI. So we help CEOs, CFOs, CIOs navigate to value through AI, do it through a platform and through a methodology. Yes, we were lucky to trademark ROAI early on. A lot of folks, when we started this business, were very focused on the use case, and we're focused on the use case of use cases. Like how do these things actually come together? Isolated, they may have a little bit of value, but if they're unorchestrated and they're not harmonized, are you really doing what you need to do for that healthcare enterprise and more holistically the industry? So that's the goal, is to help healthcare help itself through AI.
Awesome. And sorry to hear about your son, but like almost everyone here at the show, healthcare is personal, right? It is personal for all of us, and many of us have gotten into this business because of those opportunities to make it better, for ourselves, our family, et cetera. So talk to me through when you see kind of the use case of use cases, what's happening right now, and as AI continues to mature at a rapid scale, what do you see happening within your business in the next kind of 12 to 18 months beyond that?
The way that we look at the world, and we serve primarily the payer segments, and we've been exploring more of the provider segments, which is one of the reasons we're here, and pharma and life sciences as a whole. It's a 3x3 matrix. There's a size, which is easy, small, medium, enterprise, and then an AI maturity curve. Call it leader, follower, laddered. Those that are in kind of that middle of the matrix, upper side of enterprise, they're leaning in. We found board level decisions related to, we're going to lean in, we're going to do something. What's happening now is during the third and fourth quarter of the board saying, where are we with AI? What is moving the needle? What is our direction? What are we doing? And we found that a lot of people just do not have a compass. They are, CFOs are overwhelmed with the complexity of making decisions. CIO are overwhelmed related to the security, compliance, everything else. So they needed someone to help them kind of navigate this journey. And what's been fruitful for us, and we've seen it, across the board, most enterprises have a cross-functional team where they're, may have somebody from finance, somebody from compliance, somebody from IT, somebody from the business side. They're trying to make decisions around what should we do with AI? Where do we start? And it's usually a committee call and a committee conversations. And you know how well those work, right?
Yeah.
Quarter after quarter.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of
By
results.
committee, right?
That's right.
Almost,
That's right.
yeah.
And they go into those sessions with good intent, but there's usually not a North Star set for the org. And
Right.
so what we do as a platform, what we do as a company is how can you leverage AI to get to value as quick as possible? And value means different things to different people. It means different things to a for-profit, nonprofit, to a payer, to a provider.
Yeah.
And it's dynamic. So if you're a public company, EBITDA may matter in Q1 and then revenue may matter in Q2. So you got to be able to course correct in stream.
Yeah.
And we found that everyone is leaning in, but everyone is very confused. They have a paralysis on what to do next.
Yeah.
And I mean, just think about the changes. Like since February 5th, Opus was released, Connect was released, Sana was released like 10 hours later.
Right.
The sands are shifting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And people don't know how to navigate that.
Yeah.
And we see that it's our mission and it's our responsibility to help them kind of navigate the change, but do it through value. Like, let's define what that is for you, and then we navigate to that.
I think, that critical lens of decision making and the platform that we're developing, our agentic AI platform, we literally have a button called Impress the CFO, right? It's like it's really about, and kind of what you're implementing is metrics that matter.
Yeah,
because there are different metrics that matter to different C-suite executives, different functions of the organization. Yep. There are different clinical metrics, operational, financial. That it sounds like you can help those orgs relative to AI hone in on and identify early on which are having the impact.
Yeah.
Right. And then from there, as they build that use case, kind of continue and expand that use case across other sections of the org. Is that correct?
Exactly. And there's going to be, I think there's we call it internally, there's a shift from, you don't hear it a lot here, but you hear it in our partnership with Anthropic and OpenAI. There's a shift from token economics, and we're trying to tell them we need to shift to trust economics.
Right.
So regardless of what that North Star is, I think you're gonna see a shift into more outcome-based pricing, outcome-based models, as it should be.
Right.
I think there's gonna be a time and a place for SaaS, and all these things have, they all have a relevance. But I think the solutions that work, and our goal is to focus on the ones that work.
Yeah.
So if it's creating value for them, then absolutely double down on it. Don't just play around the edges, the perimeter of the problem, like dive in.
Yeah.
But I think healthcare has a trust problem.
Right.
And the only way to discuss that with AI to us is through value. And so I think the companies and the point solutions that provide the right value and they can prove it, they're gonna have a very successful future in this space.
Yeah, it's interesting you say value. I've been in and around the value-based care world for a long time as well. Some companies that super well intended, but the unit economics were very difficult, right, at a macro scale. And yes, you had ACOs and these other different modalities, government solutions that try to force the unit economics, but it's almost until it's the technology change, and now you have economic policy or economic, substructure, and then the policy changes all have to happen. And I think we're seeing all those things happening real time, which is exciting. It really hasn't happened in healthcare before.
Yeah.
You have all those three. You've had some technology advancements. You had the EMR adoption, obviously other things, but then policy lagged, or the fundamentals of the economic system, as you mentioned, didn't shift. So as you said, if you're a payer provider, that economic incentives, hey, we'll pay for this, and we know it'll work, but we're only going to pay if it provides direct benefit on a value perspective, whether it's clinical value, economic, et cetera. So around kind of those three levers, what are you seeing on the policy side maybe, or what are some things that you're intrigued by that can support, the continued adoption of AI in healthcare?
Well, the lucky thing for us is because we have these different segments that are in the platform. So we've got close to about $3 billion in the AI programs in our platform right now.
Right.
And you can see, top 10 use cases across each segment. And they adjust based on policy adjustments. So if there's a rate adjustment like 2 or 3 weeks ago, quickly, dynamically, all the things related to use cases on lowering that cost of care or EBITDA profiles, whatever, suddenly became the most important things.
Right.
I think, I'm excited that people like Amy Gleason are in the seat that she's in. She's doing the right thing, the smart things. But this technology is moving so fast.
Yeah.
And we have to self-advocate the power of it, but also the problems with it.
Right. Yeah.
Because it can quickly go unwound. But what we don't want to have happen, healthcare can quickly enter into a winter of no decisions.
Paralysis, right? It's almost, yeah.
And luckily for our industry is contingency-based models are out there.
Yeah.
And so people are going to be used to like, okay, if I can price the outcome. I think the thing that people are going to have to be comfortable with is transparency. That's what our platform does, so it's easy for me to say that.
Yeah.
I think the harder thing is going to be for some point solutions that maybe don't want to provide that clarity or transparency, may be tough.
Yeah.
But I think things don't change. Behavior doesn't change. And I think that's the biggest thing for us. AI is not, for healthcare, it's not about computational science. It is about behavioral and political science.
Yep.
Like if you can show that it works, you're more willing to change the metabolism of your enterprise, as will your teams, because they're saying it's working.
Yeah.
And until that happens, and until you have leadership that lean in to do that, we're still going to be kicking the can down the road. But I don't think the healthcare economy will allow us to.
Yeah, I agree. We had Amy on yesterday, actually.
Oh, awesome.
Talked about,
she's awesome.
and I think,
awesome.
Having folks like her and her colleagues and a fresher set of eyes, right, on these problems that can bring the real world applicability of the technology to the table and say, yeah, listen, we have to move fast. Yeah. We have to be able to make change at a macro policy level in order for these changes to actually take place and fundamentally shift the way all these things happen. So it's, her name has come up a couple of times here in the podcast, and for good reason.
She understands the market.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you need people like that don't look at it just from a policy perspective. They look at it from a market perspective on how policy can help the market,
right?
Not stifle the market.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're, our audience covers obviously healthcare, but also investors, entrepreneurs. You mentioned, healthcare is a start. Other kind of lines of business that you guys have your eye on?
The funny thing is, this problem set applies to any industry.
Yeah.
But a $5 trillion problem in healthcare to solve. That's a pretty good TAM for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 2.5 of that, or 2.7, whatever the number is just related to labor. And within that, there's like 1 million jobs that are opening right now. So we think there's a massive opportunity to have an impact.
Yeah.
There will be adjacent categories that I think we'll eventually get into, but right now we just want to move the needle in the industry that we love and serve.
Awesome. Maybe as we wrap up here, what are one or two intriguing things maybe that you didn't know before you've learned the last couple of days, or kind of caught your attention?
Something that I think everybody knows, but there's a lot of solutions out there.
Yeah.
I do think that people are finally starting to focus on ROI, on value. I've heard that come up more than often. My attorneys are excited that there may be more trademark infringement that they could go after for ROAI.
Right.
But I think that's healthy. Like we want the market to have that type of discussion. I think that that benefits everyone. That tide lifts all the boats.
Yeah.
And people are amazed at the pace. And I think the other thing is they also are scared by the pace.
Right.
Because things are moving really, 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 really fast.
Yeah.
And I think we all have to just be self-educated, self-advocates on learning more and just doing our best to stay on top of it, so that we can help our companies, but also help the industry we love.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your perspective, and congrats on all that you're building and continued success. And we look forward to following along in the future.